Hello, my name is Davin W. Boyd, and you are listening to the first episode of the DAVcast. And on this episode, I will be talking about the revolution of wearable technology. So, growing up, me and my friends all had these. These are different pedometers. These first came out when I was younger, as far as I can remember. They counted how many steps you took, how many miles you walk, and essentially how many calories you burn. So, fast forwarding to the future, you have Fitbit. Fitbit was created in 2007. Now, what's so unique about Fitbit is they create pedometers as well as different scales. But the difference between them and the old pedometer is that besides counting how many steps you walk, they also measure the quality of your sleep and the steps you climbed and other personal metrics. Their products range from watches as well as digital scales. So a while back, I was reading an article from Grantland about wearable technology in the NBA. So right here, the picture above I have is a company that offers GPS in shoes. Now at the bottom, you'll see a device being attached to someone's jersey. So the interesting thing about the wearable technology in the NBA would be that they will be able to track the movement data, including distance traveled and running speed. They'll be able to determine the power behind a player's acceleration and decelerations when it comes to cuts and crossovers. They'll also be able to measure the force-based impact of jumping and landing and also measure fatigue. Now, what's so interesting about this is that they'll also be able to indicate when a player might be on the verge of injury or already suffering from an injury that hasn't manifested itself. This is absolutely amazing when you think about the terms of injuries and the different aspects and the different things that you can measure. Now, all this data you can market anywhere. If you think about if you have something going on wrong with you, you can have one of these, and essentially they can make it to where it goes back to your doctor, and your doctor tells you need to come in for a checkup based on these different things. So when you come to thinking about injuries in the NBA recently, you think about my guy Derrick Rose, point guard for the Chicago Bulls, former MVP, 18 injuries in his short career, most noticeable his ACL tear in the 2012 playoffs and his MCL tear in the 2013-2014 season. You think about future Hall of Famer Kobe Bryant, 23 injuries in his 10-year career, and most recently the former MVP Kevin Durant. So another way this would be helpful, and you can market this to different franchises, different sports teams, and things of that nature. When you think about a player who has past injuries, and they go in, they're a free agent, they're going into a new team, you can use this data and have them work out with the wearable technology, and they can determine if this player is about to have another injury. So the way this will be marketed is, you have a brand new player. He's about to become a star player. He's coming over. You know, he had a couple injuries back in the past. He comes on over, and you work him out. Workout looks good, but you have this data that says that he's on the verge of tearing his ACL. Now, tearing the ACL in the NBA is a very bad thing. So when you think about how much money and how much time that can save different teams, different franchises, if they invest in this technology. So you think about who else can use this technology. My first thought is the NFL. When you think about this technology, it can determine how hard a person is hit. And you think about concussions in the NFL. If you think about how hard someone is hit, you can also redevelop their helmets, their shoulder pads, their cleats, all of their equipment, just to make sure that this new equipment can measure and can soften the blow of the hit. You think about baseball. Now with baseball, it'll be different. You can think about how to create different gloves by if a player hits a ball into the outfield and the ball lands in another player's gloves, the force, they can measure the force of the ball hitting the glove and additionally create new gloves based on that, just to soften the blow to a player's hand. You can create a multitude of different things. You can also measure the force of how hard a 90-mile-per-hour fastball hits a helmet and recreate the helmet design so that it will soften the blow of this. You think about soccer. You can measure the acceleration of how fast the ball is being hit, the force, different angles. You can measure how much a soccer player runs up and down the field. And you think about in all of these sports in total, when you're getting ready to draft a player, you can work him out besides the different metrics that you already go off of. This technology can be marketed to those same companies, those same people, and say, hey, this player is this fast when this is happening, or this player, when he cuts this hard, this how fast he was going. And this would be a different metric for different teams, different associations, different people when you think about the aspect of how far it can take health and technology. And you could just market this to anybody. Thank you for listening, and you can find more DAVcast at my website, davernwboyd.wordpress.com. Thank you once again.